Welcome to Ask Colleen, Spiritual Solutions for Life Situations. I'm Colleen St. and I will be the host for this podcast. My aim is to provide you with the guidance and support through life's challenges, spiritual development, change, healing, and growth. Drawing from over 2 decades of experience as a spiritual practitioner, I will share my wisdom and offer answers to the questions that may weigh heavy on your heart and your mind. Remember that you are not alone, you are capable, and the light within you is unstoppable. Hello, and welcome back to Ask Colleen, Spiritual Solutions for Life Situations. I am Colleen St. and I'm so happy to have you here. So I hope that you are having a good week and that all the energy from the eclipse is replenishing your soul and allowing you to find a more steadfast way to view the world, to view your inner world, and allow you just to really embrace the exhale of every moment. So we're going to start this episode off like the others with an intention and a Peace Warrior deck pull from our guidance deck, and clear the deck and shuffle. Let's ask the angels for the message that will offer us guidance for our highest good, setting the intention and allowing us to find our pieces to peace. This card is dreams. Dream big, dream bold, and never stop dreaming. I developed this card specifically because I realized that I had a trouble with dreams, not sleeping dreams, dreaming in life. I felt that I got swept up by the tides of living in a survival mode, living in the fear of, am I going to be okay? And fear of actually committing to a dream with the unconscious feeling that that dream was never going to come to fruition. So I wasn't going to allow myself to really dream past the limits of what we think is possible. So this card was more so a reminder to myself that we are never to stop dreaming and dreaming big and bold. Because often we think this dream is as out there, and then once we reach it, that's like the end game. And the reality of it is that our dreams will just keep taking shape. Once we've realized that we hit this aspect of our inner success, the next level is so much more bigger and bolder than we could have ever imagined. So our dreams are not just a one set intention. It is an intention that we allow the divine space to bring us into that dreamlike state and bringing and merging heaven on earth within us. And then they are always inspiring us to keep moving further, moving forward, and allowing ourselves, like a snowball effect, to just keep adding to it and getting creative with it. Often we think that we are, gifted one genie bottle, and in that genie's bottle, we get 3 wishes. And so we start to limit ourselves and we start to really create attachments to our dreams, whereas Spirit wants us to just say, you're limitless. You're an abundant, limitless being who is 100% capable and deserving of all that is inherently yours coming into this space and place of existence. So if you have a dream about this and you have a dream about that, keep dreaming, but keep going bolder, keep pushing yourself to the limits, and be surprised by the miracles that appear in your world when you step aside and you allow yourself to take intentional action steps towards reaching those dreams, because God, Spirit, and Source never put a limit on us. It is us that put the cap and create laws within our own world and in our own mind that create a prison of what it is that we are capable of. So dream big, friends. Think about it now. If nothing had a negative outcome, what would you desire? Start there. So this week in this episode, we are going to take a question that a viewer had sent in to me. And I thought this was such a good question because I myself felt this situation when I first opened my business. And I've worked with hundreds of spiritual practitioners who also felt this, but had a lot of shame behind it. And so I thank my viewer for writing this in and taking the courage to put themselves out there to really ask for the solution for something that's creating a lot of mental chatter in their head unnecessarily. So she wrote, I am a new spiritual practitioner, new as in newly out of the spiritual closet, as you say. I have been practicing for years on friends and family, but took the leap after 2020 to open a spiritual brick and mortar. My question is, how do you view yourself when you are struggling because you're always feeling insecure with envy, self-doubt, and jealousy towards other practitioners, whether they be in life or online? She said, I feel like a fraud because I'm trying to help others, and I really am helping others with my gift. But I often feel like I am competing, or I feel like I am feeling jealous all the time and feeling not enough. Did you ever feel like you were a fake, a fraud? Because I feel this way all the time. Not when I'm practicing, I feel revitalized and refreshed. But when I step away and I go online, I then start to doubt myself, my capabilities, and any potential for me to grow. Have you ever experienced this? Oh, this is a good one. So I was scared to death when I was just in the beginning of my business. I mean, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy scared. I was doubtful. I was insecure. And then I was like, on the flip side, super passionate. It's like this burning inner feeling within me was like, go girl, like you have to do this. So I chose to follow that faith over the fear. So first, I just want to say to her, she rocks because she stepped out of that spiritual closet and really listened to her inner guidance, that she took the leap and she opened a business to help others. So here's what I want to tell the spiritual practitioners out there. If you're thinking about opening a spiritual business, you do not have to have all of your shit together to start. And the reason is that as we take that first step, we then can exhale and be like, whew, we did it. But we're on a journey too. So we're not only the change makers and the people who want to help others to become the best versions of themselves, we're also growing through life lessons and this journey as well. So be gentle with yourself. You do not have to have your shit together to start something. And as you're in it, you're going to be triggered by many different things, because that is a clear example of how your vibration is raising. And in that raised vibration, it is then exposing a different view for you to explore and consult with your shadow parts. So the fact that she said she's feeling envy, self-doubt, and jealousy. So let's take all the backstory out of it. Let's take, oh, well, this person's doing this and this person's doing that. First thought to lead with when you are starting this inner consultation. Number one, only you have your fingerprints. So stare at your hand right now and look at all the magnificent lines that are on your fingerprints and your palm. No one in the world has those lines. No one will match. Now imagine putting that on your belly and matching it to your soul. Nobody in the world has your soul and no one has your fingerprints. And you can say, well enough, yeah, I get that, but I'm still jealous and envy and self-doubting. I understand that too. But when we can understand that no one is our competition, no one, we need to understand that when we view someone else's competition, we are stealing our own power away. It has nothing to do with that other person. But in stealing your own light, you are then adding light to the person in which you feel envy for. So basically, you're giving all of your wealth over to that person because that's where you're putting your investment, not into you, but into them. You can have people that you admire the path that they've taken and use that as a mentor or tutelage. But to really have that deep-seated feeling that they are your competition, that really takes a hard toll on your belief system and your soul's light. So when you remember the fact that no one is your competition, but in her question she said, who do I view as my competitor? My intrusive thoughts are my competitor. I am constantly competing to be ahead of and aware of my intrusive thoughts. My intrusive thoughts that tell me you're not enough. My intrusive thoughts that tell me people are going to make fun of you or laugh at you or shame you or, fight you, go against you, judge you, whatever it is. We all have them. Every single one of us. There is not a person on this earth who does not have the intrusive thoughts that at some point in their life feels that intensity of doubt. And a lot of times as we are at that pivotal point where we are about to take that next step into that next level of our life, do we not feel the darkness of what we are leaving behind start to assault us? Right? And so as we're leveling up, we walk through the dark to move into the light. It is the light worker's way. And it is something that when you become more cognitive of and you're aware of it, that you really can move through it more seamlessly. So when those intrusive thoughts come up, allow yourself to just accept it. Do not judge it. Do not shame it. Do not punish it. Do not create a situation, a story, or anything else around it. Just acknowledge it. And acknowledge it and say, okay, I'm feeling envy. I'm feeling jealousy. I'm feeling inadequate. I'm feeling incapable. Really breathe it in. Allow yourself to sit in it. What you're being shown is that this shadow part is raising its hand and it's asking for you to pay attention. And when it really becomes intense, it's like, imagine a child just like constantly raising its hand. We're not paying attention to it. Put your hand down. Well, then this child becomes destructive because it's so sick and tired of not being paid attention to that now it starts becoming destructive to get your attention. Well, that's what's happening when these intrusive thoughts are ignored or shoved down or pushed down. They then start becoming destructive in our lives. So sit down with yourself and write the word jealousy out. Write the word envy out. Don't try to reason with it. Don't try to reason with, well, like, oh, I know I'm a good person. No, don't put that into this. This is about pinpointing what exactly you're feeling it, owning it, acknowledging it, and releasing it as you write it out. I want you to write out, mind dump all the experiences, big, small, and anything in between, that you felt jealousy. Just write it out. Don't judge it. Nothing. Just allow yourself to spill it out, because it is not this person who's opened up a spiritual business online or in person who threatens you. It is something that has been following you along in life that just hasn't been allowed to have a voice to come out. So it could have been like something small where, years ago, someone could have gotten a new car and you're driving an old one and it tings jealousy. So when we do these inner audits, we think about unconscious events. Someone may get a promotion and you didn't, inner jealousy. It's not huge, big, and inflated, but it's a layering effect. Somebody got the boyfriend or girlfriend that you wanted when you were in school, jealous. The boyfriend that you had when you were little, maybe, break up with you for your friend, jealous. Like, we keep piling these little tiny experiences on top of one another so they become much more inflated. Now, when something big comes into our world that we hold sacred to us, we then are triggered by it, because then we feel that there is a lack. So it's a connection to scarcity. It's a connection to lack. Scarcity in that there's not enough. Lack in that we're not enough. It's connected to unworthiness. It's connected to feeling this inability to be capable, right? So it has a lot of different moving parts. But when you allow yourself just to address, no one taught us ever how to be jealous. I mean, I don't know about you, and if you have in the comments, please tell me what you were shown and how to be jealous as a kid, because I was never shown how to be jealous. If I said like, oh, such and such got this, my parents' response was be grateful for what you have, so it was like shut down, don't feel what you feel, and be grateful for what you have. So envy. I was never shown how to be envious of someone else. I never was shown the healthy way to move through envy. So when any envy came into my life, I shamed it. I created it to be like, oh, I shouldn't feel that way. Oh, they're a really nice person. I should just be happy for them. We give ourselves so much bullshit dialogue that actually it just creates so many streams of negative conversations that are so unnecessary. So if you find yourself bullshitting with yourself, like, cut it out, like, shut it down and reroute and bring yourself back to what it is you're working on. You're working on understanding what part of me doesn't feel enough that I believe this person is better than me, or the jealousy of this person is taking action on things that you're sitting on because you're insecure. And that's a big one. When practitioners may see another practitioner putting out a class, putting a lecture on, doing this, and yet they have been ruminating and rolling in this idea for such a long time that they're overthinking it, they're over analyzing it, they're over questioning it, and yet someone goes out and does it, boom, it triggers a lot of envy, a lot of jealousy, a lot of frustration, a lot of critique, where it's like, oh, well, it's not going to be as good as mine. Like, it doesn't matter. Stay in your lane. And one thing I want people to know, that just because you're in a spiritual business does not make it an immunity of human behavior. And that was a big shocker for me. When I first started the business, I was like Bambi coming in thinking like, oh, we all have a light mission. Like, everyone's happy. Everyone's on the same page. Like, and damn, it was not. There was a lot of, heaviness coming at me with people being jealous or people being envious of client flow or this and this. And I was literally caught off guard. So in answer to my first part of the question was, what did you do when you first opened your business? Did you feel this way? After feeling this, almost like the other side of it, feeling very attacked because I felt like everybody else knew what they were doing and I was just this hungry student who wanted to learn, I learned quickly to stay in my lane. And, I made it a practice that, and the angels tell me today, I didn't actually have to go as hard as I did, but like, I didn't read other books. I didn't follow people. I didn't, really congregate too much in the spiritual community. And it wasn't because I was trying to isolate myself or feel like I was better than everybody else. I really was not looking to trigger my insecurities. I needed to start moving through the process of believing in myself and then kind of integrating myself back in there, because I didn't want to read something in the beginning and think like, oh gosh, they're right, I'm wrong. Well, I received the information this way, so does that mean I'm not receiving it correctly? And the reason I'm kind of putting this all out there is because these are conversations that a lot of people don't have when you're first starting the business or even being in the business. I remember not too long ago, almost a year and a half ago, when I was pivoting my business, I felt raw. I felt very insecure when I was kind of letting go of what my everyday looked like. I really realized I was starting to flounder out of my intuitive intelligence and into this like human confusion of, well, who am I? Like, what do I do? Like, what do I have to, what do people expect? Like, what? And it was a lot of a mental war, until finally I just got out of my own way and was like, angels, what do you want me to do? I was like, I forgot the basic principle of what I taught. Ask and you will receive. And when they said, what do you want to do? And that was a tough question too, because I was really good at doing what I was told. So I had to really sit and ask myself, what makes me feel good? What makes me feel good? And you recognize that sometimes we become people pleasers in our spiritual business because, we want to, create, an invitation for people to work with us or to feel comfortable. But this period of time that we're in, it's really about doing our shadow work, healing and sealing up those old vaults that, we used to carry around with us as like our wealth and of knowledge, and ask ourselves, what do we want? And I asked this client, are you facilitating a spiritual practice that brings you joy? Are you doing the work that feels fulfilling to you? Are you making an impact on the clients that you're working with? Are you doing the work that you feel you're aligned with? Because another aspect of jealousy or envy is that we're doing something and we feel jealous of what other people's work is, like, oh, well, that looks more interesting. Oh, that looks more, So ask yourself those inner questions, like, am I doing the work that fulfills me? If it's yes, kudos. Am I doing what I feel like I'm guided to be doing and helping people? If the answer is yes, kudos. Am I doing too much? Like, am I multi-practicing? Like, I'm doing energy, I'm doing crystals, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, but I really love doing this. Am I afraid to really speak freely about what it is I do and how I do it? So I'm holding myself back. So all of these inner investigative questions will also help you to understand why you may be feeling jealousy, but go in and do the shadow work. This elevation of your frequency has gifted you an opportunity to see what obstacles down the road could really become a problem, but they're showing them to you now so that you can handle it now and take a fearless approach into exploring the jealousy, envy, and self-doubt. And a lot of times they're really connected. So if you just want to write all three words down, that's fine. But you really should be praising yourself for having the courage to open that business, and really praise yourself for the courage that it takes to sit in front of someone and help them through their difficult times. And really praise yourself that you were honest enough to address this giant elephant that's in your inner room that keeps showing up. So good job in owning it. And now our job is going to be acknowledge it, own it, release it, and rebuild it. And when those intrusive thoughts come up, maybe when you're scrolling, be like, you know what, I'm going to bless that business, because when you send a blessing to the business that you may, admire, you're then sending that blessing right back to you. If you're sending envy and jealousy and all of those lower vibrational feelings, what then happens is that you're then sending it back to yourself. Bless what people would call in the non-spiritual world your competitor. Bless your friends, bless your enemies, and allow those blessings to bounce back into your life, to step into your inherent abundance of health, wealth, love, and happiness. If you listening have a question, visit Ask Colleen Spiritual Solutions for Life Situations, my website at ColleenStMichaels.com, and fill out a question and send it in, and then we'll review it online. And I hope that you enjoyed this episode and have a blessed week. Thank you for tuning in and joining Colleen St. Michaels on this transformation journey. If you have any questions, insights, or topics that you'd like to engage or ask, please visit www.ColleenStMichaels.com under the podcast page of Ask Colleen to submit your question. I look forward to connecting with you next time. Have a beautiful day.